All right, hey everybody. I thought I would try and put together a video for how I've been grading comic books over the past year or two, and what I do in terms of pre-screening all of my books and how I data enter them into a few different areas, which I'll go over. Not in too much detail, but just kind of show you what my process is for grading books. So I'm going to start my first grading video using the Scout Comics subscription. So these are the books that I got from July 2021. Really good stuff. Electric Black #1, Black Friday #3, and so on. But more importantly, Scout typically delivers really high grade comics. They're really in almost pristine shape every time. Occasionally you'll get some sort of ding or manufacturing issue where it's a 9.2 or 9.4. But for the most part, overall, with my stats, Scout is typically the highest quality distributor, direct publisher of comic books, really wherever I'm getting them from. Okay, so I'm going to put these aside for just a second and then kind of walk you through what my process is. So again, I really take all of the emotion out of this. So in this case, we're looking at The Adventures of Byron #1 from the Scoot imprint, and this is not something I'm going to read or collect. But I don't necessarily count that against anything. And it looks like Scout has a bunch of custom backing boards now here that show like what the Scout Comics subscription is. So good on them for branding. So anyway, let's get started. So I take the book out of the bag and board and just start to look at it here. And I start to inspect the spine. I don't see any spine ticks on this. Corner looks pretty sharp. Honestly, the 9.8s, I can spot those the fastest. So I don't see anything here. I flip the book over. I'm not using gloves. When it does get warm in the summer, sweat starts to happen for sure, perspiration and whatnot. And, you have to kind of be careful. And sometimes I'll even hold the book just kind of with my knuckles or my hand, try not to get fingerprints. Okay, so this looks pretty good. Show you the back real quick. Really, really nice. A little bit of wear here on the spine next to the staple. That's nothing I can do about that. Nothing Scout can do about that. So this one's a 9.8. The Scout bag and boards too are pretty standard. These are like the BCW modern age style. So I'll go ahead and place it back in. And they use the self-adhesive right on the bag. So I figure if it came good enough as a 9.8, I don't necessarily need to replace the bag and board there. So this one looks good. Okay, so what do we do here? Why do I have the spreadsheet up? So I have the spreadsheet up, and I typically just start to type in online comic book store is the platform. Platforms vary. The vendor, Scout Comics, and then the item itself. Now I'll start to get the item from some of my other resources here. So I'll go into Go Collect first, and we'll do a search. Pictures of Byron. I don't even know if this has a number, but there it is. Let's call it #1. It's not #1. Let's just search for the series. Okay, it's possible that this is a store exclusive. Let's check cover price. I don't really love cover price over Go Collect or vice versa. I use them both equally for different purposes. Okay, I don't even know what this is. So what do I do here? Well, I'll just grab Adventures of Byron #1 and do my best. Go ahead and put it here in the sheet. Now there's discount, issue number, amount, date, actual, etc. I'll do that at the end. Right now, it's really about getting everything in Go Collect and cover price the best I can. So it's not in GC column N Go Collect. It's not in column O CP. CGC graded, obviously not, and then my grade. And then I have columns for decisions and sale prices if I decide to sell the book down the road. So I just kind of go through this one at a time. So let me switch here. We'll do that instead. Sorry for the camera blur there. Yeah, so this one looks pretty good. And I'll go ahead and put it aside for putting into the collection. Let's check the next one. Next one is Broken Souls Ballad #1 on their Black Caravan imprint. And I like these matted covers. I know Boom uses this a lot. really great. Helps protect it from a lot of spine ticks, and then don't have to worry about all of the fingerprints getting all over it. So this looks pretty good. Again, just kind of inspecting the spine. Really don't see anything corner. A little bit of soft cornering there. Not too bad. Really there either. Pretty good to me. I'm going to hold it up close if I can take a look. Yeah. So this is another 9/8. I don't really see. There's really nothing on the back in terms of the staples. So that looks good. And it's really important to be able to screen your own books like this. It takes a lot of time, but it's worth it in the long run if you're cataloging everything in this way. You spend so much time finding these books or spend a lot of money subscribing and everything. You want to take equal time making sure that you're meticulously going through your collection. So this is a 9/8. I did forget one step. One thing I do with my books is right before I put them in the bag and board here. So in this case, I'll do it in this direction. I'll write the grade in the corner. Now the trouble is when I sell these, sometimes I'll replace boards or whatever, and I don't want the buyer to get confused. So I often have to replace the board or do something just to make note that, if I've got something marked as an 8.0 and it was an old board that I used and the book is actually in high grade that I'm selling, that I correct that before I sell. So in this case, I'll go ahead and put a 9.8. Now, the only problem I have right now with Scout is to me, as I feel this, the glossy side is what they printed on, which I prefer to put the glossy against the book. That's my personal preference. I'm sure there's arguments either way, but in any case, I can always tell when I write on it with pencil that I'm writing on the glossy side and not the matted side. So anyway, so that's kind of what I'll do here. I'll go ahead and write, let's see if I can get that in there. I'll go ahead and write the grade on the back corner. So this helps too in the short box where I can flip the short box around and I can see all of the grades up in the corner. Kind of the way that Marvel used to do, I think it was in the Bronze Age or early Copper, where the number, DC did this too probably at some point, but love the issue number being right at the top because then you can see that. So I try and do that with the grades right there and put 9.8. Okay. So again, this is great. This is Scout Comics. This is what they do. So let's see if we can get this back on the screen. Also, I know I'm dealing with Scout Comics, so I can just Control V on the spreadsheet and give myself additional rows, broken, sold valid. So again, I don't want to type that in. Let's see if we can find it. I'll be honest with Scout, they're not always in the database here. This one is. I put everything in my personal collection. I'm way over the limit and go collect, and they warn me every time, but that's just how I do it. I don't break it out for any reason like Scout subscription. Price paid. Now, I do have to figure this out. And essentially, if I go in and count the books, so a Scout subscription, go back here for a second, move that one aside. We graded 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So Scout subscription is 12 books. What did I pay? It's essentially 12, or the amount divided by 12. So let's see what we got. Figure this out on another screen. I want to say it's $30. View my order. And actually, let's count these. So row 51, 52, go down to 51, 63. That should be 12 books. Then what I do is I'll put the details. So the subtotal is $33.99 for the subscription. I'll put a shipping line and then the amount, $8.95 shipping. And I put a summary line just to make sure that my numbers are accurate here. Let me go back here and update this for you. You can see this. The summary is the sum of the actual amount that I paid. Put my order number in just for reference. Actual, I'm going to grab here 8. The order it was confirmed on 6/13. And I put, was I charged or refunded? It's a charge. Print it negative, and then just do a lot of copying here to set this up. So I realize on video this is a lot of data entry. I'll have this set up next time as sort of a template as we go. Okay, so essentially I have to take $33.99 divided by 12, which is $2.83 roughly. So if I put 283 in here, be down $42.91. I'm a few cents off, so I usually just take that off the shipping, just so that I or add to the shipping rather. $42.94 is what I spent on this subscription box. So this now gives me a nice little guide to understand that I spent $2.83 on each book. So if we go back to Go Collect, then what I do here is I put my comics into Go Collect in the personal collection as if they've been slabbed. I'll explain why I do that maybe in another video, but I just give them the CGC Universal, the date I acquired, June 13th, Scout, save it. And then I do the same thing over at Cover Price. Broken Souls Ballad 1, found it. It's trending down. I love this, the Cover Price added, where you can actually enter your grade. They used to not have that, which is why I did the grading and Go Collect the way that I did. But it was just, it's kind of habit now to keep my collection consistent. I just continue to do that with Go Collect. 283. I try and use the tab keys and keyboard as much as possible. I save it, and now we've got this data entered into Cover Price. So now for this one, I can copy the title, paste it right in here, and then I flag it as yes that I data entered it and 9.8. Now you'll see above these grades, I've got my grade and I use the decision column for percentage chance at a 9.8 as well. So what I try and do to separate these visually is I'll just change these rows to gray like that. I want to see what was the average grade of the book in here. And then I usually just copy this from the last one. And in this formula, I am counting just the rows from this order. 162 is the last row. So this, I change it to represent a percentage, and this I like to bump up an extra decimal point. And so now what we have is a nice clean view of this order. As we go through and data enter these, you'll see the amount and then the grades and then the percentage chance. Obviously we're 2 for 2 on a 9.8. Again, Scout is super high. Okay, so let's continue with the grading. And I'll try and do it, since this is the first video, I'll do a better job of flipping the screens back and forth and enlarging things and making them easier to read. So this is Black Cotton number 3. Interesting book. I do want to read this one. I haven't read it. I can already kind of see through the bag. We might be having an issue right here. So we'll have to take a look at that. So let me get it out of the bag. And not every board has their branded Scout Comics. All right. Let's see what we got. So that was on the bag, whatever that thing was. I can't see it in the bag, but it is gone. It is nice, tough black cover, right? So kind of lay it down here. Again, probably should be using gloves, but there was a little speck of something. There's a tiny, tiny crease right in here. You can't really see it on the camera. It's so faint. I'm not going to count that against the book. Everything else looks crispy. Again, that corner camera is not super clear. There we go. It's kind of hopping around. I'm probably too close to the subject here, but yeah, there we go. It's coming in and out. I don't even know if I can. Yeah, it won't focus. Need a camera upgrade. Okay, so corner looks good. This corner looks good. I don't see any issues there. Flip it over on the back, and this is where again I start to hold the book a little bit differently on the bottom, because especially on a black cover, I'm worried about fingerprints or really any skin marks, so I'll just kind of hold it like that. I really don't see any problems with this one. I'm looking at the bottom. Nothing on the bottom either. The top looks pretty good. Corner looks fine. I'm going to kind of lay it down gently. Just kind of drop it. Just the tiniest little white speck there. Really nothing that I can see that would, say that this is a 9.6. It's definitely a 9.8. Now, because I saw something on the bag, what I'll do is I'll put that bag aside for maybe sometimes I get books from some places, and yeah, they ship them without bags and boards, or if I'm replacing really older comics from my original collection. So I'll take out a BCW silver board. I prefer silvers. I'll go ahead and write the grade. My grade's a 9.8. Take out a regular silver BCW bag. And just to be on the safe side, we'll go ahead and replace, this is a silver. Just to be on the safe side, I will replace the bag and board without hesitation. If I just don't like, for some reason, if I don't like the bag and board, there's damage to it. It's got a weird sticker on the back, whatever it might be. There we go. That's better. That's right in. And again, very, very carefully. Can't really see it on the camera, but I actually slide it about a quarter off of my desk so that I can pick it up from the bottom without grabbing, like puncturing the edges with my fingernail. And then just kind of like, just let gravity take hold of it. And now it's in that nice looking BCW silver bag and board. Take a bit of Scotch tape, lay it diagonally, off it goes. Okay, cool. So that's 3 for 3. Go back to the spreadsheet and find this one. Black cotton 3 is, and then the data entry becomes a little repetitive, but at least we know that it's $2.83 per comic. Purchased on June 13th from Scout. It does have a variant, but we just got the regular. All right, looks like that one has number one has a pretty strong value at a little over $13. The other two are holding a cover. $2.83. Out and done. When I'm really in the zone, I'm doing a lot of copying and pasting and clicking on the keyboard with hotkeys. I find that actually going through this a little bit on the video is slowing me down, which is perfectly fine. But if you're wondering, like, wow, this is a very, very lengthy and crazy process, it is. Absolutely, but it's worth it. Okay. So this one's interesting. Rad Wraith, because it's an Ashcan. So this is part of the subscription. And you have to be careful with these because they're literally including the cover about 4, 5, or 6 pages. So these are the ones that typically have the spine ticks. I don't see any, but I'm super worried about even holding it because it is so flimsy that it just the slight bend puts ticks in it. Same issue with, I think, the first book we looked at. See, I just did it. No, I didn't. That was close. I thought I just created one based on how I was holding it. I think that's color from the front cover. I don't think it's any kind of spine splitting. And then the staples look pretty good. So before I mess this up any further, I don't think I messed it up, but I think it's okay. Again, I'd see some little discoloration down there. I don't know if that's part of the art. It's so flimsy. So again, like I was saying, I replaced their bag and board. Nothing wrong with it, but I need something sturdier for the long run where that's going to actually sit better in my short box. So I'm taking this and I will write 9.8. Sometimes these bags stick together. That's okay. All right, slip that in. Okay. Now, again, I'm sliding it just off my desk to turn it over and put in the bag and board very, very gently without even that right there. The book folded slightly. I'm super worried about it. I'll try and straighten it out a little bit there. Just have it look nice and presentable. Shake it a little bit just so that it sits nicely. So this, it's not a full back or anything that I'm putting the comic into, but it's certainly sturdier than what was there before. So again, that's tough. The Ashcan getting a 9.8 is pretty rare. I typically grade their Ashcans around a 9.2, 9.4 because it's just inevitable that they have it. But this one looks super, super nice. So I've not heard of this story yet. It's pretty gnarly, but happy to get an Ashcan. Ashcans are never in Go Collect, but I do make note of them here. So I just typed it in, Rad Wraith, Ashcan. Still paid $2.83, even though you might call it a dollar book, and it just kind of evens itself out. 9.8. So this is pretty strong. 4 for 4 on the 9.8 from Scout. All right, next one. See if I can go a little faster. I think you get the idea. This is the Perhapanauts Second Chances #1. Again, this looks like it's going to be that matted cover, front and back, which is really easy to screen. Looks good-ish. I don't know what that is. So this is where it gets a little tough because I'm not sure if that's actually a tear on the book, a color defect. So tough to see inside it. And this is where I err on the side of caution because I don't know if that's a tear and what CGC or CBCS or any grading company would say on that. Like if they say, well, that's manufacturing. I don't know. And because I don't know, I'm not giving it a 9.8. I mean, if that's a bit of a tear, the thing is the book is so good otherwise, so I'm not going to punish it and give it a 9. So I'll just put a 9.6 on it and leave it at that. I mean, it's a fantastically structured and quality book. Honestly, this would look more like a 9.9 or a 10. Every single corner is sharp. But that little mark right there, that kind of did it in for me. So I just give it a 9.6. And what that does is I'm typically not sending any books into CGC, which is what I use for grading. I'm not sending those books in that are 9.6 unless it's a very, very specific book. Is this book ever going to be worth grading in a 9.6, or what if that was a tear and it came back a 9? This book is probably never going to CGC. It's really part of my PC, part of my Scout collection. Would love if all of these comics got optioned, right? But I don't mind just noting that in the system that I keep that it's just not a 9.8. I don't trust it. So let me try and spell this. Perhaps one. Did I spell it? Perhaps notes. Perhaps one. Second chances. This one. 283. You know, again, is it a true 9.6 because of that? You know, we could certainly debate that, right? We could go through and talk about, you know, what we think CGC would ding me on an actual tear, but it was flush to the cover. Like when I touched it with my finger, it didn't seem like it was a tear, but I'm not going to take any chances or even second chances. So I'll just copy this in here, typing. Again, not a lot of data for the Scout books unless they pop 630. All right, that one's done. So here I said I would go a little bit faster, and I went slower with that one because we ran into a different issue. Now, here's another one, Electric Black #1, and this is the second print. So series got hot there for a little bit. Haven't heard too much recently about it, but love having the second print. I don't think I have #1, the first print, so having the second is nice. Again, you got that matted cover. I'm really not seeing very much. Little tiny bit of softness up there. Again, I'm going to work on that camera issue better for next time. Get it right in the light for you. Anyway, just a tiny bit of softness right there. I'm not going to, again, punish the book for that. Bottom looks fine. Probably the same amount of softness right there. It's okay with me. I'm all right with that. Kind of a dark grayish advertisement type black cover. Again, the matted. It's beautiful. It's great. Now, again, because I do what I want, I'm not going to use their bag and board for Electric Black because to me, it's already kind of elevated its status in the hobby in terms of it having value. So I'll give it a 9.8, and I'll be happy to add this to my Electric Black collection here. All right. It's a bit of a thicker book, so it fits really, really nice here in the bag and board. It looks great. I'll get it over. Finish that. Okay, cool. Electric Black, 1 second print. 283, 9.8. Black, 1 variant. Second printing, again, not very much data. First printing, $13 average raw. Last sold yesterday, $14.95. So $10 to $20 book, depending on condition. BTC variant is 26, so not too bad. It's not out of range yet. Might be something I might want to look at getting that first print. Okay, 6/3/2021, 283. And I just copied the title right from Go Collect. And yes, I data entered both 9.8. Pretty cool. 5 in a row with the Ashcan. Okay. Here's another series that I've been dying to read, but haven't yet. A lot of these with the floppies, if they come in a 9.8, I'm not reading them because I will mess them up. So I will wait, grab the trades and read them in trades. And if I do get some sort of jacked up copy, then it becomes my reader copy. And that's just kind of the way it goes. So sometimes the series, I'll read the first couple of issues because they're in bad condition. And then other times, I gotta wait. All right. Continuing on, this again has that matted cover. It looks pretty good to me. Tiny bit of little impact right there. Again, that's nothing that you're going to get dinged on from a grading company. That looks like color break, but it's just art. So this has kind of white ink or paint, so you have to be careful. It's not color breaking. It's actually just part of the cover. Right there, it's hard to tell if that's a dent. I got to bring it in a little closer. I think it's just the shade of the art. That's a close one. It still looks good. Still looks like a strong 9.8 candidate. And I'm going to give it a 9.8. The back is really clear. I love these matted covers. A lot of the Something is Killing the Children original, like the variants that came in this was great. They're very easy to get a 9.8 in and very easy to spot when they're not. I mean, typically these will have impact damage, and they're already like a 7 to an 8 with that. All right, put it back in the bag and board. Side, Black Friday, number 3. Okay, 9.8, 6, 1, count. Add it to cover price, Black Friday, number 3, 9.8. Still holding around cover, the ones that I have, but all high grade, which is nice. So that's really what I expect from Scout. Okay, so this is the 6th book out of 12, and I'm going to cut this one here and do the other half tomorrow. So there'll be a part 1 and a part 2 of this video series. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can kind of see the method to my madness. And let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Best of luck, happy collecting, and I'll see you again soon.